So start and sits. Let's start with Arizona and New Orleans, the New Orleans Saints. Um, who do you have any starts for your well, not for your Cardinals, but for the Cardinals, Scott?
Um, for the Cardinals,
Yep.
honestly, I can't think of anybody to start. Definitely, sitting. What's his face? The quarterback. Can't even think of his name right now.
Kyler Murray.
Yeah, I don't know. I honestly don't think he should even be started at all this season, unless you got him on a bye week.
Oh wow. That's a hot take, I will say. Trey
Yeah.
McBride.
I forgot. I would start him definitely.
He's definitely a lineup lock. I will say Trey
Yeah.
McBride, you're starting him against anyone.
Yeah.
Marvin Harrison, interesting. He did bulk up over the offseason. I would have him as a flex start. Now, a lot of people are very
Okay.
keen on him in his first week last year. He didn't really get targeted. So it's one of those things where you got to take with a grain of salt, even though he's that number one guy. Kyler Murray, for specifically our league, the division rivals, if you're a rushing player, you're getting a lot of points. So that's his
Hmm.
upside if you're taking him in PPR, is that he's got a little bit of leg under him. On the opposite side of the ball, me personally, I only have one start. If you're starting anyone from the Saints, it's going to be Alvin Kamara. You are not going to be starting anybody else. Chris Olave, even if he's healthy, he's a dangerous risk in fantasy football. He has a lot of concussions. So he has
Hmm.
his history. It happens all the time. And then you have Spencer Rattler at quarterback. Um, it's very interesting. A lot of people aren't sure how he made it to the league from Last Chance U, but he is interesting to say the least. I don't know if he's a good quarterback. I don't know if he's a bad quarterback, but he has been prepared to be the starter this year. That's something that's different from last year, and I think that could help his chances in the game. But it is heavily favored that the Cardinals are just going to wax them. It is actually a 58% percent chance that the Cardinals win this game, which is a lot considering it's football. Anything can happen.
Yeah, I mean, Alvin Kamara's got to be the only start for the Saints because Spencer Rattler's throwing it. I
Mhm.
wouldn't touch any of those receivers
Mm-hmm.
until he can prove us otherwise. But
Hmm. Yeah, I think Jawan Johnson too. Um, please tell me he's still on the Saints.
he
I
is.
think he is. I think he is.
Yeah.
I think he actually is. Yeah.
Yes. So I think, I mean, yeah, the past year, I think he did pretty well. And I overheard a lot of talk about a lot of movement going on in the Cardinals back office, especially with, their practice and training schedules. They've done a lot of changes. They've definitely been rebuilding, I think,
Mhm.
the past couple of years. So it'll be interesting to see how they make out.
Yeah, to that point, actually, they like Trey Benson. That is a backup running back.
Yeah.
He didn't do a lot of work last year, but James Conner is progressively getting older, and they're saying that they might be sneaking him into the lineup a lot more frequently. So we'll see if it's James Conner taking all the touches, or if it's going to be more like a lot of leagues or a lot of leagues, a lot of teams in the league are doing this now since they've seen the success with Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery. They're trying to run two backs. The Jets are doing it with Braylon Allen, Brees Hall. It might be that same situation over there in Texas for the Texans. We might be seeing Nick Chubb and Woody Marks or somebody else, Damian Pierce. We're going to be seeing it in Washington. We're going to be seeing it with Austin Eckler and Bill McCorsky. Um, so there's this. It's interesting, we'll say. But like you're saying, not a lot of fantasy relevant players in this game unless you've got Trey McBride, Marvin Harrison, somebody to look for, Alvin Kamara.
I don't know. He burned me so much last season. I can't trust him. But
Yeah, it's hard.
I had him and Murray on my team, and whenever I started them was their worst weeks.
But
Yeah.
let me tell you, let me tell you something about, because I kind of have not a bone to pick with Kyler Murray, but like I have my feelings about him as far as it's you got to start taking over the offense as far as being a leader. right? Because you're not, um, I wouldn't say you're novice anymore. I wouldn't say
Mhm.
um, you're rebuilding an offense anymore. You're starting to hit the ground running year by year. So we got to start. You got to start being that guy. You know, I say, and I said the same. It's funny because I was talking the other day about it was the same thing with the Dolphins and Tua, right? I feel like it's the same situation. Like you got to be more respected in the league, especially with you're getting these wide receivers, you're getting these good ones, these good looks, and you're not capitalizing on them. Um, Especially with the deep ball, right? That speaks volumes to an offense. You know, especially when the season starts, you got to get out there.
And it's great that you actually brought up Tua's name because that is the next game on our slate. We have Miami versus the Colts.
All right. Well, one, you're gonna like what I have to say about this game.
Oh, please enlighten me. Can't wait.
Um, the Dolphins are gonna crush the Colts. Their defense, the Colts defense last season anyway, was the worst in the worst five in both passing and rushing. So I wouldn't start Tua, but I would start Tyreek Hill and I would start Echan because the Colts allowed 130-ish yards rushing last season on average, and then they allowed 230 passing yards, I think. So obviously, Hill being the number one, he's probably going to get most of those. So I would definitely start both of those. And
Why wouldn't you start Tua, Scott?
I just think there's more quarterbacks out there that are uh, a better option for you. I think he's a decent number two for you to have on your team, but I wouldn't trust him in my starting role just because of the issues with the concussions.
Yeah, poor guy.
Yeah, I mean, I feel bad for him. I personally think he should have retired, but he loves the game. He's worked his whole life to get to where he is, so I understand that he doesn't want to give that up. But no, I think the Dolphins are going to absolutely crush, and I would bench anybody you have in for a Colts player. Bench them all.
Bench them all. What, you
Yeah,
don't like
I
Danny Dimes?
No.
no, dude, I mean to your point, Scott. Yeah, I mean I get it. Tua is not a problem. Don't I can't sound mean. He's not a
Mhm.
problem. He is a liability. He is a liability at this point. But if we're gonna keep him, right? If McDaniel feels like we need to capitalize on what we've got, and you're paying the guy, and he's gonna be on the field,
Mhm.
then you gotta start playing, man. I mean, the Dolphins are like, for me as a fan, they're too slippery for me, right? I
Yeah.
mean, just when you think you have the Dolphins figured out, boom, bro, they hit you in the face.
Yeah.
We just can't get it right. We don't have our quarterback in the pocket long enough, right? We don't give
Mhm.
him enough time to read our long plays. If you look at the Dolphins offense for a long time, it's always been we've not quite they're not a big quick slant team, right? But they're big on the post. So with that being said, you've got the fastest wide receivers in the league. You guys can say whatever you want. I think, in my opinion, fastest wide receivers in the league. You got to give it heart. You got to give it grit. This isn't backyard football. This is the NFL,
Yeah.
right? We're throwing the ball um, inaccurately. We're throwing it too slow. We're not getting the quality looks, and if we're getting the looks, we're not capitalizing on them ever. And I feel
Mhm.
so strongly about it, guys, because the Dolphins have always been that team that is just like almost there, but not quite there. You know, I feel like it's not like a Jets story where they're never there. I'm just kidding.
Quite
No,
literally, though. I like
no,
to
we
call us
gotta
the
we gotta earn
graveyard.
every yard. We gotta earn every yard.
Now, everything you just said sounds to me anyway like Tua is the problem because you're not capitalizing on every play. You're not passing accurately.
Yes, because so when you look at the backfield, when the play's actually going, most of the time Tyreek's getting open.
Hmm.
Most of the time Waddle's kind of open, right? And Tua is throwing the ball away a lot. I don't know what his
Yeah.
percentage was last year, but it was high, right? So that's what that means is lacking confidence,
Hmm.
right? So and I don't think with a wide receiver team like that, it's good to not have that confidence, because any other quarterback probably would
Hmm.
do a good job. Um, may I say even like if we had an Aaron Rodgers, right? Right, you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's kind of changes the script a little bit.
I get
Um,
what you mean by that, but I feel like it's a little different because Tua has the adversity that most players don't have, and it's having to make those business decisions now. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
It's bad on field, it's bad on tape, but it's a business decision that he's not getting clobbered making that pass. Like you're saying, the O line's not holding up for him. Yeah, these guys are open, but are you gonna risk taking that last concussion that puts you out of the league, or are you gonna throw the ball away? You
Yeah,
know?
but when we're at that point, Jason, you're not
Mhm.
you're getting paid a lot of money. Like let's talk
Yeah,
literally, right?
yeah.
Let's talk let's talk for real now. We're not like aside from fantasy, aside from when we're talking literal football and business, you're getting paid to do a job, right? If you're a liability, you know you're a liability, yet they're giving you the chance, whose fault is it? The organizations? Maybe.
That's the
But
org. That's the org
yeah,
for
Yeah.
sure.
the organization, yeah, okay, but
And
you're giving the okay.
mhm,
You're saying I'm ready to play. Get me out there. Put me in,
yeah.
coach. So as long as you have that fire, they're gonna invest in you because they already have.
But is
A
that the
lot of money
truth
too.
though? Because I feel like we see it a lot nowadays in NBA, NFL.
Mhm,
Orgs will really do you dirty. Orgs will scum you out of stuff. We see stuff like there's feel good stories everywhere. Obviously, we have Cam Hayward signing an extended. It wasn't an extended contract. They just revised it so he could make some more money because he takes pay cuts a lot. But on the
mhm.
other end, we see close to veteran players just absolutely getting cut. We have James Robinson went from undrafted to a starter in Jacksonville, and now you'll never hear his name again because the org went a different way and just completely gutted him, let
I
him
I
left to
I
dry.
agree. I agree with you, and I'm sorry to interrupt. I'm sorry for
No,
being
it's okay.
annoying.
Yeah.
Um,
No, I felt I just did the same thing.
you're you're right in a sense of at the league as a whole, but
Mhm.
you gotta admit the Dolphins have been very loyal to her.
Yeah, and I like that. That's what I was getting at. Is like it is change of pace. It is very refreshing,
Mhm,
but I don't think that if it was anywhere else that they would have invested this much patience into him. It's definitely a good move, a charity move, but I think it's time to tank this year. Go for a top quarterback prospect going into the draft and walk away with that and completely revise your offense. You have Darren Waller before the first week of the season. I don't know if I don't know if he's just out or if he's headed to IR, but that
mhm,
that was a cornerstone of your guys' offense. He retired,
yeah,
came back for retirement to play with the Dolphins. You guys signed him big bucks, and now he's gone again.
mhm. Yeah, and we went from having the highest scoring defense in the league now to being kind of a joke in the league. So you see where I mean the Dolphins are like slippery. They're not.
Well,
There's no consistency there.
a lot of that was you guys went for a lot of older, big name players such as Jalen Ramsey. Great career, but he was definitely on the decline after the Rams. You guys signed him to big money, and he kind of pulled an Aaron Rodgers on you guys, you know. um, and I want that to be the term from now on. When somebody steals money from an organization, He pulled an Aaron Rodgers because not only did this guy steal money from the Jets, he stole power. He was making decisions, decisions, decisions. I've never seen anybody get that,
I'll
you know.
At
I'll
least in
take
football, there's a guy named LeBron James that does that.
Yeah,
I'll
but LeBron and
overpay.
Aaron Rodgers
Yeah.
aren't the same guy.
Yeah, if I'm the Dolphins GM, I'm overpaying for someone that has a track record than I am someone who's a liability. You know what I mean? So if it's gonna be time that if the Dolphins are gonna overpay, and we know Tua's not going anywhere,
Yeah.
Oh
right? I mean that's
Yeah, he's got what, 4 years left.
right. I mean we know he's not going anywhere. Unfortunately, it's the decision and the route the Dolphins want to go. They've made that perfectly clear. Um, but to go back to this game, um, the Colts, they're also rebuilding. They're developing. They've got that young QB, under center, that's going to grow into a leadership role. So, but he's got an arm too, right? So don't be surprised, right? If we pull something out of the bag, because the Dolphins defense hasn't been crazy, right? I didn't see anything crazy preseason, as far as amazingness, right? But like getting the ball back, so we'll see. I think it'll be a good game for sure.
Alrighty, so do you
If I had to
guys
say, I'll give it Dolphins for this one.
Dolphins for that one? All right,
Yeah,
so who's the starts and sits for fantasy wise? Who are you starting? Who are you sitting this week for the specific game?
I'm gonna start. I'm definitely. I want to start Tua. I do. Only because if it's gonna be time to, I don't know if we can curse on this on this,
Let's try not to.
but
Let's not try.
yeah,
Let's try
okay.
not to.
YouTube doesn't
If
like
it's
that.
gonna be time to mess it up, it should be early,
Yeah.
right? Let's get it all out there. Let's see what's gonna happen, and go from there.
Like I said, I'm starting Achan because of that Colts defense, and I'm starting Tyreek Hill
Definitely. On the opposite
because I
side of the ball, I would like to start Jonathan Taylor
Hmm.
must start. Gotta be started out there. But what were you saying, Scott? I didn't mean
oh no, you're okay. I was just gonna say, like I said, I'd just bench probably any Colts player.
except Jonathan, except Jonathan. You know,
Yeah.
it has been hard because Michael Pittman, he is a reliable fantasy option, but with the new
Hmm.
quarterback, we don't know how the chemistry is going to be. It's hard to start him
Hmm.
this week. I would say
I've been
low end
waiting for him
flex.
to. Yeah, I've been waiting for him to blow up for a couple of years now. To be honest with you.
Like I wouldn't be upset if you put him in the flex, but I guarantee you've drafted a couple names that you could put up before him,
Yeah.
realistically. I will say that you definitely want to start Tyreek every time that Tua is in the lineup. Tyreek Hill
Mhm.
balls when Tua's there for some reason. I don't know what the
Hmm.
chemistry is. Um, Sneaky flex play, right? If you're looking really murky, Ollie Gordon. I think he's going to steal a touchdown or two this week. I really do. He is a power back. We have gotten reports from not only players but coaches themselves saying that they want to move more to getting a bigger back in the backfield. Now, whether that's I forget his last name, but I know it's Jalen for sure, or Ollie. They're definitely going to be getting somebody mixed in there. And Ollie looks good. He's a big guy and he has some impressive looking runs in the preseason where he powers through defenders. So we'll see if
Mhm.
he lives up to my flex play analysis. We actually got Scott's favorite game coming up too. We have New England versus
But
Las Vegas. Is there any keen words of
who?
advice you got for this one, Scott? And then after that, let me know your starts and sits.
Gonna have to go not just because of my heart, but I'm going New England. It's gonna be a close game. But I think it's in Foxborough, right? Looks like it, yeah.
Yes, it is in Foxborough.
So yeah, I'm definitely going Patriots. I really, really want to see um the breakout of what's his name? The rookie
Is
running
it
back.
Trayvon? Travion?
Yeah, Trayvon.
Let me.
Yeah,
I
Travion
know you got
Henderson.
him in our league.
Yeah.
Let me
I
pull
know
that up.
he's technically second on the depth chart, I think. Um, but the Patriots like to run two running backs. So
Travion Henderson. Yep. Sorry.
so he's going to be sneaky. I've got him in my flex. I'm going to keep him in my flex because I do think they're going to use him a lot. Stephon Diggs definitely going to be. I'm very glad that Drake May does finally have a target because he didn't have much last year. But yeah, Stephon Diggs is going to be good as long as he can stay healthy. That's the hope and the prayers that I have. But looking at the Raiders, the reason I think it's going to be close is because of Ashton Genty. I am very excited to see what he can do because I know there's a lot of hype about him. And then obviously you got Brock Bowers. Both teams have decent starts. Honestly, I would fantasy wise, um, I would start Genty obviously and Bowers. I'm starting. I can't. I don't know why I can't ever remember his name. Keep wanting to say Stevenson, but that's the first running back.
Travion.
Um, Travion. Yeah, thank you. I'm starting him in my flex just because I'm hoping. But if I'm giving people actual advice, maybe Drake May, but I don't know if I'd start anybody really in New England. Giving advice anyway.
Yeah. Juan, do you have any start sits for this game?
I'll be honest with you, I don't have start sits, but I
Mhm.
do have a prediction.
Okay.
Um, I predict a close game. I predict Raiders on top, by a touchdown, a lucky maybe a field goal, right? Just something close. I think it's going to be a good game. I think it's a long trip for Pete Carroll. Making it's funny saying Pete Carroll making a name for
Yeah.
himself, but making his name for a new organization, I guess. But the Patriots will be making a debut with a coach, um, Mike Vrabel. Is that Mike Vrabel? Is
Mike Verbal.
that
Yeah.
his name?
Like Vrabel.
Mike Vrabel?
Behavioral.
Yeah,
Behavioral. Yeah.
yeah. Uh,
Verbal.
Vrabel,
Behavioral.
whatever.
Close enough.
Yeah, yeah. But I think, yeah, but in and Geno Smith, to pull it out late, and I think it'll be okay. I think they'll do good.
I honestly think that this is going to be either a shootout or the Patriots are going to run away with this one. Um, and it sounds very surprising, like the New England Patriots, this stage that they're in. But I feel like Drake May has a lot of targets this year. He's got Hunter Henry, who's been consistent with him. We have Travion. We have Stephon Diggs coming into the offense. Now we start getting a little murkier down the depth chart after those names, but I feel like it's going to be available for him to pepper around the field targets. And then not only that, but we're going to see how Geno Smith plays in a different system that isn't Seattle, the only system we've seen him actually play well in. Now you have Pete Carroll coming down with him, but it's not just that. We're going to be seeing, let's say New England takes a big lead. Is Ashton Johnson going to be able to? What is he going to do about that as a running back? You know what I mean? We have
Mm.
Jacoby Myers there. Amari Cooper just retired after signing with them as well. Brock Bowers, of course, is an amazing target. So you got two guys right there who could play good if this becomes a shootout, right? But I'm a little bit more down on Ashton Johnson this week than everyone might think. I do think that the Patriots have always been a defensive squad, and that's what really wins them their games. Of course, they have offensive legends as well, but I feel like it's schemes over players. So we will see the Patriots really get after it, and if they score the first touchdown, it's going to be a shootout. I'll put it on that.
Now, one thing I
First.
will mention about Genty though is New England's rush defense. I don't think they uh, I don't think they added anything extraordinary to make that get that better because they were bottom 10
Mhm.
in rush defense last season.
That's a good statistic.
So
I do want to know though is The O-line for the Raiders going to be a top 10 O-line, or is it going to be a bottom 10
Yeah,
O-line
that's
as
true.
well? So
That's true.
sorry, that's a pirate bit that I that I saw I had to stick in there.
That's a hot
Um,
take.
that's a hot take. Yeah. Let's move into the next game. We have my favorite game of the week. We are going to be talking about the last AFC East team. We have the Jets. Actually, we haven't talked about the Bills yet because that's later. We have the Jets and the Steelers. Do you guys have any cool start and sits?
Star Aaron Rodgers. Sit everybody else.
I don't think I'm on that same page. I know. Um, I I'll go into mine. I think
Go
that
ahead. Go
you
ahead.
are a safe bet to start only one player on the Steelers, and that's going to be DK Metcalf. They're going to feed him the
Mm,
ball. I don't see anybody else getting targets. They are also going to be giving the ball a little bit to Patrick Fire or Pat Firemouth, and they got another tight end as well. So they kind of have a two tight end set going on. We'll see how that one works out. On the Jets side, though, we are going to be starting Justin Fields, and we are going to be starting none of the running backs. Garrett Wilson. Those are the only two guys that you really feel comfortable starting. If you have Justin Fields starting, you drafted him for a reason.
mm,
He's going to be on the bench for most teams as the second quarterback. He's if you're in a super flex league, I'd give him a shot. He's got the rushing upside. I could see him stealing a couple of touchdowns from the running backs. Garrett Wilson is going to get his. I don't see anybody else getting targets in New York. It's a wasteland at wide receiver other than him. But again, for the Steelers, it's going to be interesting watching that backfield. I like Warren this week. They have been
mm.
saying Caleb Johnson has been a little unproductive in the running game. I don't know. He's a big guy. I think he could be a workhorse. I've actually drafted him for my fantasy league, but I think Warren takes the lead this week just as they start the season off with Aaron Rodgers.
Mhm.
So are you saying to bench Brees Hall then?
Unfortunately, yes. If you didn't draft Brees Hall as your second running back like I did, um, if he's yeah, I would bench him. They're going to use him in the passing game a lot, which is going to be good for
Mhm,
Justin Fields rolling out, getting a lot of pressure, dink and dumps. So he
mhm.
definitely has value in a PPR league. Now, does he have what it takes this game to take the starting rollback? I don't think so. I think it is going to be a running back by committee, and that dampers how much production he's going to be able to output. Because when you're giving maybe even the third string the ball, that's taking away touches from Brees Hall. I had him last year. It was very frustrating to see how they used him last year, but hopefully
Mhm.
it's a revised game plan. And hey, we saw it against the Bills where he took it 89 yards on the first drive of the first game. That's things that win you the jobs over the season. So if we could see something like that happen, then you could start him going forward. But right now, he's nothing more than a flex unless you're absolutely desperate like me.
I will say on for Pittsburgh, right?
Mhm.
And I'm going to say this until I'm blue in the face. Aaron Rodgers is not done. Okay. The man's not done. He's going to put his blood, sweat, tears, and drugs on the field. Okay.
And drugs, and drugs. Yes,
on
yes.
the field. It's gonna be great. When the Pittsburgh has the ball, they average 5 yards per play. That's actually pretty good. I don't know how it's gonna be when they incorporate Aaron Rodgers on that. Um, but I think that they're gonna be amazing with the deep ball, right? I think we're gonna be a good it's gonna be a good refresher for
Yeah.
for Pittsburgh for
And that's
sure.
why DK's viable. Is they're
Yes.
going to throw it. Aaron Rodgers is late enough in his career that he doesn't care about the stats.
Right.
F it,
Right.
he's out there somewhere. That's the motto that most quarterbacks live by when they get to that
And
age.
and remember too, I mean, a lot's changed over the years, but Aaron Rodgers is no stranger to. Well, now it's funny. He's no stranger to going against a team like the Steelers. Now he's on the Steelers, and
Yeah.
he's definitely not a stranger to the Jets.
Yeah, it's a lot of insiders because the quarterbacks came from the same teams that they're playing, both
Right.
teams. So we're obviously they know the ins and outs. So it's going to be surprising to see what they tried to do to throw off both those quarterbacks, what they tried
Right.
to do to get in those quarterbacks' heads. I could see the Jets players being a little chippy. I wouldn't be surprised to see Aaron Rodgers go down hurt in the first half because the Jets really have it out for him. So
Mhm.
we'll see that. As you can see, I'm not as optimistic about him because I'm a Jets fan, right? So
Right.
I bet you those Jets players aren't very happy with him. The whole city of New York has got to be gunning for him.
Yeah, I hate to admit it, but I agree with you, Jason. The Jets, they're probably I'm not going to shut down Aaron Rodgers at all.
Mhm.
But I don't even know if I would start Metcalf just because I don't think there's going to be a ton of yards out there in the passing game because the Jets' passing defense isn't bad
Yeah,
either.
even 2 years ago, we were top 10 defense,
Yeah.
and we were still terrible. But
Hmm.
obviously, last year wasn't great, but that doesn't mean that the core of our group hasn't changed. You know what I mean? We still
Yeah.
got Sauce
Yeah.
Gardner. We still have good corners beside him. We have great linebackers. We have a good D line. And if we could piece it up and keep our players healthy long enough, like you guys saw, we have guard Elijah Vera Tucker, second tricep injury, season ending. He's out. That's a big hit for our O line. And we haven't been able to keep it together injury wise. If we can keep our players healthy long enough that 8 games into the season, I guarantee you we look a lot better than what we do every year. All right, we're moving on to the next game. We got the New York Giants versus the Washington Commanders. What do you guys think about that game? And not only that, but let's get to those start and sits. I'll start with my starts on the Washington side. I definitely want to say that you are starting Jaden Daniels. You are starting Terry McLaurin if you drafted them. Those are the two players that you can really lock in there. It is going to be interesting to see the running back room. Um, they've got 30-year-old Austin Eckler, and then we have JCM, a rookie running back, and then we have a couple other running backs behind them that are still in the depth chart. But we have Zach Ertz out there. I don't think he's a start. I think again, you start Terry McLaurin, you start your QB Jaden Daniels, and you lock those in. The other ones are flexes at best.
I start Malik Neighbors.
Of course, yes. You
Neighbors.
definitely want to
Neighbors,
stay
yeah, yeah,
neighbors. Yeah.
started for sure. You know, a rookie of the year performance. Uh, a little bit of an injury with that toe thing that he had going on. But I think he'll be perfectly fine. Um, Sit the whole Giants defense. I think I think that's pretty
Yeah, I don't
yeah.
think I want anybody on the Giants side except for neighbors. Um, you know, Russell Wilson is Russell Wilson. He's aged Russell Wilson. He's not going to be prime time shuffle around the pocket. It's not going to be what the New Yorkers think. We've got high
Mm,
expectations. But I think it's safer to be betting on the Washington Commanders side. Could be one of those things where we see Bill McCorsky get a lot of touches because it's a runaway game.
I think the Commanders are they're a good team to bet on, especially now. I'd say the last 2 or 3 years because of how they built their defense. Right, they're
Mhm.
a very good defense. I don't know where they're ranked um,
Mm.
as of today, but I think they've got a lot of pieces. I feel like last year they were picking every ball out of the air. So, I think if they keep that up, that'd be a pretty
And
good game
I
for
think
sure.
another reasons why we see them have a lot of interceptions is because they played in a lot of shootouts as well. So it was more like death by a thousand paper cuts. Is you have to be
Mhm.
perfect on offense because we're going to score every time. We got Jaden Daniels running and throwing the ball, monstrosity, like a monster, like a monster. So I don't think that they're an amazing defense, but against the Giants, we've seen this before. I think they'll be able to hold it together. I do want to go straight into our next games. I do want to talk about the Panthers and the Jacksonville Jaguars. We got two cats in this game. Well, in Jacksonville, it's going to be interesting to see because we have a running back committee, three different running backs. We have Travis Etienne, who was
Hmm.
very explosive coming into the league. He's the guy that actually took James Robinson's job. Then we have Tank Bigsby, who kind of stole a lot of Travis's flame last year down the stretch. And then we're going to
Mhm.
go even deeper. We have Baishal Tutin, who was drafted this year, who there's a lot of word coming from camp. Even Adam Schefter has been reporting. He has his friend who's an actual trainer in Florida who has been training with Baishal, and he said, watch out for Tutin. So maybe he's going to be leaving us with a crop dust, or he'll be leaving us with the crop dust on our opponents if you drafted him.
Did
Um, we have Travis Hunter as well. Travis, they actually came out and said today that he's going to be an every down wide receiver and a situational cornerback. So those people that did
yes.
ended up drafting him where he was drafted, if he fell or if he stayed where ADP was, you are in for a home run situation if Trevor could throw him the ball.
Yes. I think Trevor Lawrence has a great a lot of weapons out there
Yeah, yeah,
this season. You know, Travis Hunter with the news today, obviously that's going to be something really good fantasy wise. You're going to get a lot of points on the board, I think. Brian Thomas Jr.
mhm,
And Dimey Brown, Damey Brown,
yeah, yeah.
Damey
He was
Brown.
actually, yeah, he was pretty good last year.
Yeah, so
He
I
was
think
sneaky,
what
sneaky.
he was. So I think that'll be um I'm gonna have to give it to Jacksonville
Mhm.
this time around. Only because I haven't seen Bryce Young really. I'm surprised he's still there, to be honest with
Yeah.
you.
You know,
I'm
actually, to that, I don't mean to interrupt, but
no,
they
no, no.
have been saying in camp that they've been working with him a lot. So it is interesting to see that they stayed faithful and wanted to see what they could do with him. Because, like you're saying, he hasn't done anything actually.
Yeah, it's always at this point he's a liability too. You know, his pass percentage is very low. I think he's one of the lowest, if not the lowest QB in the league right now. For starters at least. So on the running backs, Hubbard, right?
Mhm.
Chuba,
Yeah, Chuba Hubbard.
Chuba Hubbard. I haven't seen him play too much, but I know he's okay, right? His sprints are pretty good. And I'm looking here at the depth chart right now. Just nobody stands out to me with
Yeah.
with
Yeah.
Carolina.
I do want to bring this up. There's actually brothers playing in this game. Did you guys know that? Trevor Etienne was drafted by Carolina. He's buried in that running back depth chart, but I could see him eventually maybe working his way up with some of his brother's swag, stealing some touches later in the season. Obscure fantasy football reference right
Yeah.
there, guys.